They wanted you to feel like the world was against you, like they controlled everything, your money, your future, even the people around you. They had journalists who wrote what they were told, judges who owed them favors, and so much money they thought they could buy anyone or anything. To them, you were just another problem they could fix with a check. But here's what they didn't get about people like you, people like us. We don't come from their world of safety nets and easy wins. We don't learn to fight in fancy offices or conference rooms. We learn to fight in the real world, where you have to figure things out on your own, where every step is a lesson in survival. While they were learning how to play golf or make deals in boardrooms, we were learning how to keep going when everything seems lost. While they were inheriting their fortunes, we were learning that when you have nothing left to lose, you become the most powerful person in the room. You don't need money or connections. You just need to know how to use what you've got. So when they sent people to follow you, watching your every move and writing it all down, they thought they were winning. But every one of those stalkers was teaching you something. They showed you how they operated, what they were looking for, what they were afraid of. Every time they tried to scare you, they revealed a little more about themselves. When they froze your bank account, you learned how they used money as a weapon. When they tried to cut you off from your friends or your job, you learned how to find new ways to connect, new ways to keep going. Every single thing they did to break you was actually making you stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. For months, maybe even years, they thought they had you all figured out. Poor little you, struggling to pay your bills while they moved millions with a single phone call. You, checking over your shoulder for the cars that followed you, while they sat in their air-conditioned offices, deciding your fate like it was a game. They probably even had meetings about you. Can you imagine that? A room full of rich, powerful people, sitting around a big shiny table, talking about how to make sure you stayed quiet. They probably had charts and plans, maybe even a PowerPoint slide or two, all about how to keep you down. They thought they were playing a high-stakes game of chess, and you were just a pawn they could knock off the board. But they were wrong. You weren't playing their game at all. You were studying it. Every move they made taught you something new. Every time they pushed you, they showed you where they were weak. When they froze your accounts, you learned how they used money to control people. When they sent people to watch you, you learned how to spot their patterns. When they tried to make you feel alone, you found out how to build your own network of people who believed in you. Every single thing they did to hurt you was a lesson in how their world worked. And you were the best student they never noticed, sitting quietly in the back, taking notes, waiting for the right moment to use everything you'd learned. They thought they were punishing you, but they were actually giving you the best education money can't buy. Every threat, every shady move, every attempt to scare you was a class in how to fight back. And while they thought you were falling apart, you were getting ready. You were sharpening yourself into something they could never stop. A person who knew their secrets, who saw through their lies, who wasn't afraid anymore. They didn't just create someone who could fight them. They created someone who could win. So let's talk about that phone call. Not the version they'll try to spin later, when they're scrambling to save face. Not the version their lawyers will try to clean up for the newspapers. The real version. The one where your hands were shaking, but your voice was steady. The one where every word you said was chosen carefully, not to be dramatic or loud, but to be true. That's the thing about truth. It doesn't need to be fancy or loud. It just needs to be said at the right time, to the right person, in the right way. And you, after all those months or years of watching and waiting, had figured out exactly when, who, and how. Who was on the other end of that call? Maybe it was a journalist who wasn't as bought as they thought. Someone who still had a bit of honesty left. Maybe it was an investigator who'd been waiting for years for someone brave enough to come forward. Maybe it was someone they'd hurt on their way to the top. Someone who'd been waiting for a chance to make things right. Or maybe it was simpler than that. Just the right person with the right piece of information at the exact moment when their empire was weakest. It doesn't really matter who it was. What matters is that you knew